Thank you very much, sir. It's my honor to have you here and alongside other distinguished guests. I will now try to say and explain what we are trying to do here and why we are here. EVC, European Value Center for Security Policy, has been established in 2005 in Prague by a group of students who really wanted to help the policy discussion in our region in Central Europe. But we actually based many of our actions on what comes from our own history. Because if you look 100 years from now back, you will see that in Central Europe, the situation was actually very dramatic. We actually, after 1918, Czechoslovakia was born as a new nation. And we actually faced a lot of building of democracy in the 1920s. In 1930s, we actually saw a big neighbor which became authoritarian and actually started to threaten us in every sense of the world, with nationalism, preparations for genocide, and all these things of border disputes. And during that time, it was hard for thinking about what to do. And at that time, in 1930s, the discussion in Europe was about appeasement and about, let's say, stepping back and conceding into the authoritarian powers. And clearly, the history of Czechoslovakia in 1938, the Munich Agreement, actually shows that appeasement does not work. So it only takes, you need to confront the adversary, you need to stand up firm, and democracies need to stand together. Otherwise, there is a lot of pressure, and it's very hard for democracies to not to stand together when it happens. So that's something what has been similar in our historical stories. And I would say that there are many things we need to learn from our history, and we are trying to do it by our current actions. So when last fall, there was the delegation of the European Parliament here, and the chair of the delegation, a French politician, Raphael Glicksmann, he actually was asked at a press conference, do you think that, doesn't it provoke China if there is more European support for Taiwan? That was the question. And what he answered is basically what we believe in as well. He said, if there is more European support for Taiwan, it will actually deter any possible action against Taiwan, and it will strengthen Taiwan in its action. And that's exactly what, if you read the news yesterday, when the Czech government voted and actually decided to send weapons to Ukraine to help it defend from Russian aggression, the logic which the Czech government announced was that if we help Ukraine defend itself, it will actually limit the risk of the aggression. And that's exactly what I think is the message for us today, be it from history or from current times as well, because appeasement does not work. Only standing up and supporting fellow democracies under pressure is the thing which I think should be done. And so let me come back to why we are here actually as EVC. And that's let's say, it has a long-term plan, I would say. Because I'm afraid, and I'm 31, that actually I will spend the rest of my life actually trying to preserve democracy in my own country, which will be under pressure by the Chinese Communist Party. I'm afraid that's something what we will be doing for decades. And that's exactly what our organization actually tries to do for our own interest, for preserving our own democracy in Czech Republic. And how can we do it is that if we find good partners and friends who are facing similar threats. So I think it's actually Taiwan is in a position where actually we could actually support Taiwan with various things. And there are two reasons. One, Taiwan is a place which we need to defend as people who believe in democracies. And second, Taiwan is a place we can learn from how to keep the democracy while facing the threats. And we know that from European history, and we know that this is something where Taiwan is very good at. So that's why my organization actually decided to come here. That's the strategic intent, let's say, because we think it's a long-term investment. We know this is something what will be going for many years, and for that reason, we hope that that's why our cooperation needs to go deeper. We were very honored when President Tsai actually mentioned our center in her text in Foreign Affairs as one of the organizations coming to Taiwan. We are currently the first private think tank who has set up the office here, and we are very honored by doing it. But I think it is no strong words to say that supporting Taiwan in the current and upcoming future is a right thing to do, also in historical perspectives. Because if you look to our history, we have seen many cases where small democracies were pressured by brutal, aggressive regimes. And the only lesson which you could learn is that you need to build alliances, you need to support those who are under pressure, and actually help each other in a very practical sense, not only with words, but with action. And that's exactly what we hope to help with, even though we are just a non-government organization, so we don't speak on behalf of our government, but we can actually, we are, let's say, free citizens who can do whatever we want, so we could pressure governments in Europe, our own government, other governments, to actually do the right things. And what we believe are the right things is having more physical presence here, support by and cooperating in very practical things which help Taiwan, but also help us in Europe better understand how Taiwan is actually doing it. So currently, EVC has a legal presence here. We are registered under Taiwanese law, thanks to support of many of the Taiwanese authorities. And thanks to that, we could actually start operating ourselves with more practical activities in the future. So our future activities actually focus in two streams. One, we want to be a de facto Central European hub, which means that we see that there are more countries in wider Central Europe, let's say Northern Europe, Eastern Europe, Central Europe as well. This wider region, which actually suffered a lot during the Soviet occupation. And we have seen that there are so many similarities, not only in our history, but in our current posture. I see it with the brave government of Lithuania, what they are doing, and I think that needs to be as much as support as possible. But I expect that there will be more governments in our region who will be standing up and supporting Taiwan and starting the relationship much more. And that's where EVC hopefully comes to play, because we cannot decide or change what happens on government to government level, but we could actually support those who want to learn more about Taiwan, want to find right partners, mainly in the national security area in Taiwan, and we want to help our Taiwanese partners to better understand Central Europe. And since we are a non-government organization, we are not bound by anything else than the law. So we could do many things which sometimes governments cannot, or because of the current situation. So one thing is the Central European Hub as our role. We want to be bringing visiting fellows from Central Europe for a couple of months to Taiwan, so they could learn about what Taiwan does in specific areas of defense, security, foreign policy issues as well. That's one area. The second area is sharing knowledge. And there are specific pieces of knowledge which Taiwan has a great amount of, Taiwanese experts and institutions. And in Central Europe, we are missing it. And that's exactly what our role would be as EDC. And that's why I'm so happy that we are partnering with INDSR, the think tank with the Ministry of National Defense, and with the Prospect Foundation, focusing on foreign affairs as well, where actually our plan is actually to start bringing more of that experience and information, sometimes publicly, sometimes not, into the establishments in Central, Eastern, and Northern Europe. We have many other good partners and friends here. I will not be mentioning all of them. I'm very happy that we have found more than 10 good partners here, from business, from think tanks, from government institutions as well. And that's the plan for our future activities here. So thank you very much for coming. I'm honored that we could actually slowly start our activities here with the support of many good friends in Taiwan, in government and outside of government as well. So this is basically where I am. So thank you for that. And I will maybe now give the floor to Patrick Rumla, who is the head of the Czech office. And Patrick actually will deliver the message from the Czech Foreign Minister, Mr. Janda. So Patrick, floor